This tutorial is going to go over some basic masking on Photoshop. So the first thing I'm going to show you, and you should take a screen capture of this, is a whole lot of quick keys. So these are the ones that on Photoshop I'm using quite a bit. So down here, the keys that you hit to get these options and all the key commands. You can see up here it says that symbol means Command, Shift, and I've also got here it's Option Delete on the Mac, but in brackets I've put what it would be on the PC for all these things. So take a screen capture, and I would suggest doing a printout and having it beside your computer until you get used to it. So we'll jump into Photoshop. So I've got three images. I've got this, which of course is going to be pretty difficult, and these two other images, which will be a bit easier. So we'll start with the most difficult one. Now, there's a whole lot of selection devices here. The magic wand, the lasso tool, the magnetic lasso tool, all sorts of things. But the main ones that we'll end up using are these ones here. So we've got the quick selection tool, object selection, and the magic wand, but it's really these two here. And if you have anything selected from this department, you'll end up with these options up here. Select and mask to refine it, and select subject. Typically with Photoshop now, the program itself does a great job of masking. So if we just go select subject, you can see that it immediately comes up with a mask, which is pretty much perfect. So we'll check it, we'll come down here and we'll change that selection into a mask. And remember that if I go and have a look in the channels, whenever you create a mask, it's an alpha channel. Okay, and the alpha channel in the simplest terms is whatever we have that's white is going to show us the image, whatever is black is going to block the image. So if I hold down the option key and just click on the mask, it will show us a big version of that mask. If I want to go back, option, click on it again. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into select and mask, because this is where, if we need to, we can really start to refine it. Right at the top, there's a whole lot of options here, so I can go marching ants for the selection. I can go overlay. Of course, if you come out here, you can change how much or how little you see that overlay with the images that are behind. So I'm going to use overlay, but you've got other options here. We can go on black. Again, that's right up at 100%. On white, so on and so on. So I'm going to enlarge up on this image a bit. See how it's looking. Okay, are there bits that kind of got a bit lost? We can see all the little bits through here. So up the top here we've got the quick selection tool, so you can add to the selection. We've got our normal kind of paintbrush tool. In the middle we've got the refine edge. So if I make that brush a little bigger, I can go through and do this sort of thing. Now with this, I'm going to undo that, because there's two things now with the new version. There's color aware and object aware, and they're quite different. So if I come in here and I'm using color aware, if I click down on the here and brush through, we're going to see that it knocks out those interior pieces. And I can come out here. I'll turn the mask down a little to see what I'm missing. It's done a pretty good job, really. A few bits in here. So sometimes what you'll find is that color aware does a really good job. Sometimes it's going to be object aware. So you just have to try them to see what's going to give you the best result. At the moment, this is working pretty well, so I'm going to stick with color aware. And painting all of that in. There's a wee bit down here where I can tidy it up later, where it's kind of lost a shoulder a wee bit, but we can bring that back. So with that, I can come down here. The one other thing that I'll look at with this as well, and I'll change it to on black. I see how it has this kind of light halo around the edge of it. The first thing to try is at the top we have Smart Radius. Pull that up. That's actually looks like it's making it a bit worse, so I'll switch that one off. I'll come down here and I want to use smooth. Shift edge might be a bit coarse, but you've got this one down here that's called Decontaminate Colors. And it doesn't look like it's made too much of a difference with that one. So anyway, I'm going to go OK. There's our mask, and I'm going to pop a background image behind it. So I'll grab this one. I'll just go Command C to copy, Command V to paste it, and it needs to be a little bit bigger, so Command T, scale it up, and hit return, and then I'll slot that underneath. I'm actually going to put in, I'll just show you, I'm going to put in a solid color, just so you can see what I'm looking at here. So what I'm looking at is the kind of the light halo around the edge of the hair. Sometimes if you get that sort of thing and it stands out, you can click on your mask, get a brush, and then we're going to put it on overlay, and I'll have it on black. And what you'll see now is I can change, this might be a bit heavy, the opacity, so I'll turn that down. See, it's actually getting rid of that white halo a bit. And if we option, click on the mask so you can actually see what it's doing. You see it's essentially on overlay, it's doing the equivalent of what we would have done before with dodge and burn. It's just another way of dodging and burning. So you can actually swap around white, have it on overlay, and come back the other way. So at the moment we've got black, so we're essentially just sucking back on these things and kind of trimming them down, and what that's doing is it's getting rid of that kind of white halo. If you're getting really finicky, you can come in here with black, and I'm just going to show you a quick trick with the brushes on a Mac. If you hold down Control and Option and you click and drag left and right, it will scale your brush, and if you drag up and down, it changes the hardness. It's a little bit hard to see, because the opacity is right down. So if you watch it now, Control Option, click and drag, bigger, smaller, soft and hard. So it's a faster way than going up and kind of messing around with your paintbrushes. So some of these bits that I know that are obviously a wee bit odd, I can actually paint them out. So a lot of these quick keys can be really handy with just making things a little bit faster. There's areas here where I can go right back. Oh, actually, I've still got overlay on. I've got to put it back on normal, but it's fine for that bit. And actually, with a bigger, softer brush, do a bit through there. It's a little bit coarse at the moment because it's back up to 100%. So we'll Option, click on our mask again, and then we can see it. Drop this out, and there's a wee bit here where I can go in with white and put it back on normal. Sometimes you have to put it back on normal, otherwise you kind of forget that you can't work out what's going on. So I'm just painting that arm back in a wee bit that was lost under there, and that's a pretty good mask considering the kind of hair and the detail that's going on there. So let's get a couple more. Here's another one here. This will be pretty easy. So we get our tool here. We can just hit W for this tool. Select subject. This is a pretty clean image, so it'll do a good job of picking this up. We'll mask, but we'll go select and mask just to have a look. And yeah, it's not too bad. You can see there's a few odd bits here. So with the refine tool, I can go in and paint out some of these bits here. And if I go P, it will show me the original image. But I can actually click on this and have a look at it to see whether it looks like a highlight or whether it's something else. I'll paint these little bits around the edge. So some of these I've got might actually be highlights on the hair rather than gaps. That one's definitely a gap. This bit here, it's a wee bit hard to tell what it could be. It's probably not a gap, but I'll leave it. Okay, pretty good mask. All in all, I won't even worry about hitting any of those other options. That's worked out pretty well. So I'm just going to click on the image and go Command C, which copies it, bring it over here, Command V, and we paste it in Command T. Just scale it down a bit. Move it onto the page, and I might chuck it underneath here onto the lucky last one. This one we can close, we don't need to save it. Same with the background, that can close to help us with memory and stuff a bit. So this one again, select subject. And we'll just go straight up to select and mask. So if we have a look here, yeah, it's pretty good. Maybe there's a little bit here around the beard that I might go in with a smaller brush and try to refine. Just a few little white spots around there. His hair is pretty good actually. There's a little bit of lightness to it, but really I don't think I need to play with the radius at all. You can kind of see it there actually. It's kind of sucked in a wee bit, and if I push that radius up with the smart on, see it pushes that out, softens that here a little bit. So actually that is a wee bit better. I'll go okay with that. Click a mask. Oh, you can actually see it here. The radius has pushed in some of these areas. So if I go back to select and mask, you watch, if we change it from the red to on black, we can see how it's kind of pushed in a wee bit. So I'm going to try and push that back out a wee bit. So I've just got a normal brush here, push that out, and with that refine edge, we're just trying to tidy it up a wee bit. Oops. Undo that. I want to do the opposite. Hold down the Option key to paint back the other way. We can see there's a little wee halo thing here, so we've got options like Shift Edge. This might be a good time to employ that one to bring it in. You've also got smoothing. The problem with this is sometimes you have to go OK and then come back in, because it kind of, whatever you do, it does a total change. It's constantly trying to work with the whole image. So even though I might be working on something else, that Shift Edge is being constantly calculated, and it can end up making things go quite slowly at times. So sometimes you have to kind of duck out a bit and come back in. Whoops, that's going a wee bit far. Alright, we're just going to go with that. We've got this option here, Decontaminate Edge. We'll have a look. It probably worked a wee bit up here with the hair, or actually maybe a wee bit much. So I'll switch that off. We'll go OK. And copy onto our main image, paste, put him in the front, and again, nice and easy way to mask. So that's just putting a wee bit more detail into the idea of masking. But essentially, once you've got it here as an alpha mask, painting black and white, whatever you do, dodge and burn the paintbrush with the overlay, all of this stuff is non-destructive and helping you feed into this sort of stuff. The other thing as well that I'll point out at this time, if we have a mask, sometimes you can end up working on this mask and editing into it. You can actually go save selection, give it a name, go OK. What it does is it stores it permanently in the alpha channel here. So it means no matter what happens with this image, so if we go in here and we start messing about and we say, okay, we're going to take some bits out around here, play with it, trying to blend it in with other images, we go, oh no, okay, we don't like that. This mask has been ruined, so I can't. So if I've knocked this out, I can go to select, load selection, find the one we want, Wild Woman's here. It comes up and INZ, just make sure I'm on the actual mask. So I want white. White paints the image back in, and there we go. So we've always got that that mask sitting there in the alpha channels, and we can bring it back at any time.